Shri Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur Avibhav Maha Mahotsava Ki. Okay, So today is the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and this morning we had an extensive discussion on Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and we discussed several of his literary works, and one thing we didn't really do was enter into the songs of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which are like so rich that we cannot ignore them. So let us begin. Lord Krishna is the beloved son of Mother Yasoda, the transcendental lover in the land of Raja, the delight of Gokul, Kama, a nickname for Krishna, the wealth of the lives of the people. He steals the mind of even Cupid and punishes the Kaliya serpent. These pure holy names of Lord Hare are full of sweet nectarian pastimes. Krishna is the Lord of the 12 forests of Raja. He is ever youthful and is the best of lovers. He's always playing on a flute and he's an excellent dresser. Krishna is the protector of the inhabitants of Raja, the destroyers of various demoniac dynasties, the keeper and tender of Nanda Maharaj's cows, the giver of pleasure to the cows, land and spiritual senses, the husband of the goddess of fortune, the butter thief and the beautiful coward boy of Nanda Maharaj. Krishna wanders along the banks of the river Yamuna. He stole the garments of the young damsels of Raja who were bathing there. He delights in the mellows of the rasa dance. He's very merciful, the lover and beloved of Srimati Radharani, the great dancer of Vrindavan, and the shelter and only refuge of Thakur Bhaktivinoda. So, Yasumatinanda. Srila Prabhupada explained that when we are trying to look for the meaning in the holy name of Krishna, we should understand that Krishna is simply Yasumatinandan, Yasodanandan, Nandanandan, the son of Nanda and Yasoda. So we're not looking at what does Krishna represent. Rather, everything represents Krishna. Right? So everything, although Krishna is unlimited, and there are so many forms originating from Krishna, although there are so many energies originating of Krishna, when we say Krishna, we're looking simply at Yasumatinandan, simply at the son of Yasoda. Because that is where he is manifest in his original form. That form that can fully satisfy the heart. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur continues to explain and explains about the holy name. And he mentions that there are, amongst the names of Krishna, there are the principal names and the secondary names. And when he speaks about the principal names of Krishna, he's referring to those names that deal with Krishna in his eternal pastimes, such as Yasumatinanda. Now you have other names of Krishna like Sristikarta. Sristikarta is the one who does the creation, the doer of the creation, basically, if I translate it literally. So that is secondary, because that is what he's doing in the temporary material world. When he's the creator, God is the creator. Yeah, but what did he create? The material world. How long does it exist? Oh, only temporary. Then it's gone. So that's temporary work. So that's his secondary function. So when we speak about his name in relation to the temporary work, that's secondary. But Yasumatinandan is a primary name. is referring to Krishna in his original primary condition, his original condition in the spiritual world. Therefore our meditation is on Yasomati-nandan. Yes, Brajabaranagara. Yes, he is the beloved and the lover in the land of Vrindavan. Gokula Ranjana Kana. Everyone in Gokul is enjoying. Gokula Ranjan. Ranjan means enjoying. Everyone is relishing. It's not like, okay, we are here forever in the spiritual world, and now what? I collect religious cartoons, and then you see these people in heaven, and one is saying to his wife, I think we have more friends in hell. You know, not meaning to say all their friends went to hell and then they're in heaven, you know, feeling a little bit like sort of estranged, you know, from all these people in heaven. In another one, there's two personalities on a cloud, and they both have a halo above their head, and at one point someone is just taking the halo of his neighbor and takes a bite of it and goes, not bad. I mean, sort of, I have another cartoon of a monk in a monastery, and he's cutting the lawn with a lawnmower, and he writes on there, God, I am bored. So this element of being bored, we see it coming up in religious cartoons who are asking the pointed question, is this really satisfying the heart? Is this actually fulfilling? So it's hard to understand, you know, like, but Yasomati-nandan is fulfilling. Because Yasomati-nandan is Krishna in his most attractive form, in the form that is close to our heart, because he's there in a human form, but at the same time it is not a human form, it is a superhuman form, but very accessible in that form. And therefore, in that form, one can actually have a relationship. See, if you have God the Almighty, who is all-pervading, and his powers are present everywhere, the all-powerful, what will you do? On your knees, brother. On thy knees thou shalt go. Yes, but no, Krishna is not threatening. He is in the village. He's in the human form now. He's like, looks like everyone else, but more beautiful. And yes, and everyone's mind is on Krishna. But he's so close, Yasomati-nandan. Close to all the residents of Vrindavan. So therefore, yes, Gokula Ranjana. Everyone is absorbed in great ecstasy. Gopi Parana Dana. Dana means wealth. He is the wealth of the gopis. Steals the mind of, even steals the mind of Cupid, Madan. Punishes the Kaliya serpent, Kaliya Damana Vidana. Suddenly, an incredibly overpowering serpent was there in the Yamuna. The cowherd boys had assembled there, and somehow or other, that day Krishna went looking for a missing calf, and then all the cowherd boys and calves drank the water of the Yamuna and they died. So that was a bit shocking. They all died. When Krishna came back, all his friends were dead, completely dead. But anyway, Krishna revived them. So the cowherd boys are sort of like, what happened? We were dead. They were dead, and then they were back, you know, like, oh, we're back now. Next moment, this, you know, Krishna climbs in a tree. So the cowherd boys are sort of still like, where are we? After waking up, you sometimes feel like, where are we? And Krishna climbs in this Kadamba tree and he jumps into the Yamuna. And the water rises 1 foot. How is it possible? But it happened. Then Krishna starts playing with the water. And making musical sounds. Because after all, it won't be long before he starts dancing, so some music ought to be there first, otherwise how can you dance? So there is some music, and then, this monster comes out of the water. A snake with many heads. Not one, no, many, many heads at the same time. An enormous creature, huge. That snake grabs Krishna into its coils, wraps the coils around and begins to strangle him. Now, I don't know if you know about these strangled snakes, but it's intense. Yes, and he holds Krishna. Well, somehow or other, all of Vrindavan was freaking out. There were bad omens, bad signs, and Mother Yasoda immediately felt it. Really strong intuition, and she knew something was wrong. And Nanda Maharaj followed right behind, and Yasoda ran. And she saw Krishna's footsteps, because in Vrindavan no one ever steps on Krishna's footprints. And they ran to the Yamuna, and there Krishna was in the coils of Kaliya. He's in the coils of Kaliya. And Mother Yasoda, when she saw that, she was ready. Jump in the water and just get that snake. But Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd man, it took a whole bunch of them, were holding her back, No, you're not going to do this, Yasoda. And they all stood there. And it just went on and on and on, and Krishna didn't. There was no change, and it just really looked like too much agony. And when they almost died, so imagine now the cowherd boys, they had already died, and they were about to die again. Now, to die twice in one day is a bit much, isn't it? Once is enough, really. Let's give us a break. If you die once, it's plenty. 2 times dying, it was really a bit much. Anyway, so last minute, Krishna freed himself, and then he starts to dance on the hoods of all these snakes. And the snake trying to bite him, and Krishna very elegantly doing different steps, I don't know what steps he did, but he's the king of dancers, Natabara. Vrindavana, Natabara. So he fixed Kaliya, and at the same time, he was like, he fixed him, fixed his nose, Listen, you want me to fix your nose? No nose. Krishna danced on the hoods of Kaliya, left his footprints there. So Kaliya Damana Vidana, that snake, after that, then the wives of the snake came, the wives started crying, like gosh. So then, Krishna says, God, what do we do now, So I said, please don't kill her husband. So it's like, okay, I won't kill him, but he's got to go. So then he sent him off to Fiji. Still lives there, Yeah. You went there, another?
We went close to the mountain, but you have to ask the chiefs.
Huh?
There's chiefs in charge of the area where he is. They don't have a good relationship with the devotees, so they can't go. Yeah, but even the locals know about it.
The chiefs wouldn't let you go. Ooh.
Mahavishnu Swami really wanted to go.
Yeah? We should go. Hey, Kaliya. One of these? Oops, did something. Anyway, so, yes, this is there. So, Brajajana Palana means Brajajana means the residents of Vrindavan, and Palana means to protect. So, the Brajajana Palana, he who protects the Brajajana, the residents of Vrindavan. Don't worry, Krishna is protecting. Oh, what is this? There was another snake named Agasura who opened his mouth wide and looked like he was a pathway. And some coward boy said, hey, look at that new cave we have never seen, let's try it out. Others said, no, it looks like the mouth of a snake. Nah, it's not a mouth of a snake. But even if it would be, Krishna will protect us. Rajajana Padana, he protects, yes. Asura Kula Nasana. Nasana means destroyer. Asura Kula, not just the Asura, but the whole Asura Kula, the whole lineage, the whole family of them, the whole lot of them, Asura Kula. Right? You have Guru Kula and Asura Kula. So, we'll fix that Asura Kula, no problem. Yes, Asura Kula Nasana. We'll destroy them, these demons. Nanda Godana Rakuala. Yes, Godan. Godana. It's like Nanda Godana. The wealth. Nanda Maharaj has this Godana. He has unlimited cows. That's real wealth, right? That's Dana. That is real wealth. Godana. Oh yes. He has the wealth of so many cows, and Rakovala must be protected. Yes, protecting these cows. In the morning, it is said, like out of Nanda Maharaj's Goshalas, he has one where they keep buffaloes and another ones where they keep cows. And when they all come out, it's like two rivers. It's like the Yamuna and the Ganga, the White River and the Black River. And then they merge. And Krishna and his coward boy friends take them to the forest. So, yes, the cows is real wealth. And then Govinda Madhava. Govinda. He is the pleasure. He is giving pleasure to the cows and pleasure to the senses. Govinda. Yes. And Madhava. He is the husband of the goddess of fortune. Of course, Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambrahma Sevyaman Govinda Adi Puja. He has many millions of goddesses of fortune, not only one. And so we read later on how he was also Gopi Pasanahara. He also steals the clothes of the gopis to indicate that he's actually their husband. Because that can only be between husband and wife, such type of things. So that is our Sundarananda Gopala, or Navanita Taskara. Navanita means butter. Butter Taskara means thief, yes, butter thief. Navanita. Navanita Chor. Navanita Taskara. It's both same. The thief. Sundarananda Gopala. Yamuna Tata Chara. Tata is a name of a car, but it's also so someone might translate that they're manufacturing Tata cars on the bank of the Yamuna. But that translation, although technically you could possibly try and derive that from it, that's not what Bhaktivinoda Thakur meant, because there were no Tata cars in his days. No, he uses the word Tata for edge, Tatastha Shakti. The Tatastha Shakti, the marginal, it's on the edge, Tata. So this Tata means the edge of the Yamuna. Yamuna Tata Chara. Oh yes, he's there on the banks of the Yamuna. You want to find Krishna? Oh, why not? Okay, no problem. Go to the banks of the Yamuna. Check it out there. See what happens there. Rasarasika. Yes, he is himself absorbed, deeply absorbed in transcendental mellows. So it's not one-way traffic, and here are the devotees worshipping the Lord, but they are, but it is rather how Krishna himself is captured by love. He is himself swept up in transcendental emotions. Krishna is Kripamaya. God means his merciful influence is everywhere. Everywhere. Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavan, and he's the shelter of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is deeply meditating here. His songs are not like, okay, let's write a song. Let's just write a song, to benefit the world. No, these are his deep internal moments where he turns to Krishna, and then he writes these songs, and he's meeting Krishna. So in the songs, we are particularly entering into the internal life of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Now, okay, sometimes he may also be preaching a little bit in his songs. Like, I'll jump now to another song which is known as Arunadaya Kirtan. Kirtan at dawn. Udilo Aruna Pura Babhage, Dvijamani Gora Amani Jage, Bhakta Samaha Loila Shate, Gela Nagara Braje. As the morning sun rose in the east, Lord Gora, the jewel of the twice born, awakened. Taking his devotees with him, he visited the towns and villages. Tatai, tatai, Bhajalakol, playing Madanga. Tatai, tatai. Gana, gana, taji, taji, and then kartals playing Prima Dala, Dala Suna, and absorbed in love, in transcendental love. And then Charananupurabhaj, and at his feet his ankle bells were singing. Yes. Okay. Here it says the cymbals, the anklets sound. It says, but I like my translation better, I'm sorry. It's correct. Charananupurabhaj, Bhaja, singing, they're singing. The ankle bells, they're not just sounding, Bhaja, no, they're singing. So, in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going through the neighborhood. Mukunda Madhava Jadabahari, Bolore Padana Bari. Michanida Pasaje Gelore Rati, Dipasa Sarira Saja. He said, chant, filling your mouth, chant, Mukunda Madhava Yadavahari. You spend your nights uselessly sleeping and your days decorating your bodies. E Manadulaba Manavadeho, Paiki Kura Babana Keho. What will you do now that you have attained the rare human body? What is your idea? If now you not worship Yasoda's son, at the end you will fall into embarrassment. Charame poribilaje. Poribe. Nowadays in modern Bengali we just say poribe, no more poribe. Poribe. Porajabe. You are going to fall. Yes. So yes, if we don't worship, then we fall, then we go down. You want to know where? No. No, we don't want to know that. Udita tapana hoileaste dinegelo boli hoi piaste. Piasta means busy. If we don't worship Hridaya Raj, who is Hridaya Raj? The Lord of the heart, the King of the heart. Hridaya is heart and Raj means king or the Lord. King of the heart. Hridaya Raj, nice name. I might call somebody Hridaya Raj. Yes. Why not? That's bad. Udila tapana hiras. The sun rises and sets. Another day passes. Dina gela boy habibjast. And we'll always be busy and busy. And the whole day went by. Yeah. And then tahekino ebe alashahoy. But let's not be alas. Lazy. Yeah. Let's not just get lost in laziness. We gotta do something. Please know that this life is brief and filled with many troubles. Perform your present duties, but always take shelter of the holy name. Jibir kalyana sadhana kam jagate ashe madhuranam abhijatimira tapana rupa rikagana biraje. Desiring to bring auspiciousness to the conditions. So the sweet holy name has come to this world, assuming the form of a sun to burn away the darkness of ignorance. It shines in the sky of the heart. Krishna nama sudha koryapan jura Bhaktivinoda pran nama bida kichu naikor choda bhubana maji. Please drink the nectar of Lord Krishna's names and cool the burning life of Bhaktivinoda. In the 14 worlds, nothing is like the holy name. So, Bhaktivinoda writes with deep conviction. Bhaktivinoda is writing from his perception of reality. He is visualizing this. It's not just, okay. Today is a special day related to Lord Chaitanya, so let me write a song about Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, gee, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Gora, Gora. Okay, maybe Gora is better, shorter, easier for a song. Okay, Gora, 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 Gora. Dvijamani, that was brilliant. Dvijamani. He was the jewel of the Brahmanas. Poetic, Dvijamani. Great name also. Looking for any names? Where do you find them? Where do these gurus find their names? I wonder. Gee. Dvijamani with a D something. Good fit. Let's see what to do. So many opportunities. Yes. Anyway, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is showing here his absorption. He's showing here that he is just with the Lord. And he's visualizing the Lord. The Lord, as Srila Prabodhananda describes it, in Bhav, the Lord appears in our meditation. And that is how we have to perceive this. The Lord is appearing before his eyes. He's not like trying to sort of whip out a poem, whip out a song for the local, Gorpamin contest or something, and see if he gets the cake. No, it's not about cake. It is about actually Gauranga himself. It's not looking for another reward, not turning to the Lord to get some other benefit of the worship. No, the benefit is simply the darshan of the Lord. So here we're dealing with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his internal life. And then of course he goes to the famous song Jiv Jago, Gaurachanda Bole, and I can of course do the Bengali again word for word and we get something out of it, but I don't want to spend all the time on this, so now I just jump to the English. Souls wake up, Lord Chaitanya says. How long will you sleep on the lap of the witch Maya? Sleep on the lap of a witch? You promised I will engage in devotional service. Now you forget. Bewildered by ignorance, you stay in the world of birth and death. I have descended just to save you, but for me, who is your friend? I've brought a great mantra of Lord Krishna's names, a mantra that is a medicine to cure material illusion. Ask, and you may take that medicine. And we know, right, Prabhupada's favorite cartoon, where, you know, the man said, or the lady, I think, says, anyway, one of the two says, chant, chant, and the man says, can't, can't. And Prabhupada had it cut out and Xeroxed, because that's how it was in those days. You know, Xeroxed and sent by snail mail all over the world. We would have just tagged it and like sort of, you know, posted it. But in those days you had to physically get some scissors, cut it out, go to the copy shop, you know, copy the thing, buy stamps, get an envelope, put it in there, send it all over the world. So, you know, it's hard work, you know, serious, would be a mission. Yeah. But Prabhupada undertook that mission and sent it all over the world because he thought it was important. It just hit the nail on the head. So yes, this is Bhaktivinoda speaking about the holy name. We will continue in a moment, but I'll just meditate for a moment on a more practical aspect of Srila Bhaktivinoda's life, as being there as a scholarly person, endlessly researching in his free time, collecting manuscripts, collecting libraries, really checking where is the birth site of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not just based on sentiment. Collecting old maps. He was using his government position to dig up all kinds of material, and was getting his hands on historical maps which showed that the Ganga was exactly flowing where the current Navadvip is, and that whole town of Navadvip didn't exist at the time of Chaitanya, and that it was underwater. Many were convinced that now the birthplace of Mahaprabhu is underwater. And there's like one place, not so far from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house. It's sort of opposite of his house, and it is known as Suvarna Bihar. And it's said that in the Satya Yuga there lived the king Suvarna Sen. This place is described in the Navadvip Mahatmya, which is a book written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and we'll get to that in a moment. And it was Bhaktisiddhanta who actually identified the place, and then it is worshipped as such. Then we're finding in the Navadvip Mahatmya the description that the Ganga at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would extend all the way to Suvarna Bihar. And if you wanted to go from Navadvip to the other side of the Ganga, to what is now to Godrum, basically, island where Bhaktivinoda Thakur resides, then you had to take the boat across and you'd come to Suvarna Bihar. I mean, that's a long way away from where the Ganga is now. I tell you, folks, you might want to take one of those little rickshaws or something, because if you gotta walk all that, you're gonna feel it, eh? Of course, for the diehards, walk all the way. But it's a bit of a walk. So the Ganga has moved considerably, considering that. Yes. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur produced proof for this. And finally, and many were saying, yes, the original birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not actually where they claim it is, because correctly saying that didn't exist at the time. The Ganga was flowing there, but the birthplace of Mahaprabhu, the real birthplace, is now under the Ganga. But Bhaktivinoda proved that wrong as well. So he had, from all his research, come to the conclusion that the birthplace had to be somewhere on the eastern side of the river. And not on the western bank is where Navadvip is, but on the eastern bank. And then he had that vision from his balcony where he saw this place which was all effulgent. He just saw this effulgence. So in other words, with all his research, a little bit like Lord Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, going down the stem and looking for the origin and getting really close, but not finding it until the Lord revealed himself. In the same way, the birthplace, he only found the birthplace when the birthplace revealed itself after a very great endeavor. He saw the effulgence. And then he figured out where it was, he took a sense of direction, and the next day he went there and he came to Ballal Dighi. And in Ballal Dighi there was this area which is overgrown with tulsi, all tulsi. And then when he saw that place, then he realized this is it. And he brought Jagannadas Babaji, and who was old at the time, 125 years old, which is rather an advanced age. And in those days, they didn't have wheelchairs as yet, so they were carrying him in a basket. And Jagannadas Babaji was carried in a basket around to that place. And when he came there, he jumped out of the basket in great ecstasy, and jumped up and down, and Gaura Bhumis Tvam Niyadesa Satjana Priya Vaishnav Sarvabhaumasi Jagannatai Ti Namaha. That it is in our Vaishnav lineage, it is Srila Jagannadas Babaji Maharaj who is worshipped and recognized for finding the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it was Bhaktivinoda Thakur who composed the prayer and who dedicated to him. After all these years of hard work, here's the fruit of his labor. And he's not going, confirmed, I did it. Right? It's like, you can write that in my biography, I am the one who actually found this birthplace. No, he didn't. He gave the glory to Srila Jagannadas Babaji Maharaj. Now one might think, yes, well, there's a maybe another reason for that. And granted, there may be another reason for that. And that other reason would be that Jagannadas Babaji was the most respected senior Vaishnava at the time because he was the Mahant. We should understand that amongst Gaudiya Vaishnavas, who were in the Babaji Vesh, who had taken Babaji, that means giving up a renounced position, giving up all externals of the world and simply absorbed in bhajan. These personalities, amongst them, would choose a leader who would be the leading personality, and that was in that area, in the Navadvip area, was Jagannadas Babaji. So the fact that Jagannadas Babaji would say that the birthplace was in Mayapur, then who could argue with it? That was a great recognition in the Vaishnava community, because there was, obviously, they expected a few protests coming from Navadvip, where everyone was happily cashing in on the birthplace. It's a good thing to have a birthplace, It's like, you don't need to study anymore. I tell you, forget, no need for a degree. All you have to do is put a few donation boxes. And folks, put your donations in the box. It's over there. Yeah. In Durban, during Radhastami, I gave a talk, And I suggested different services you could do. And one of the services I suggested was that you could give a donation to Srimati Radharani on that day. And that you could transfer it into the account, and that we could give the bank details. And some people did it. And I talked about 108. 1,000, of course. Yeah, not less than that. Anyway, somebody did 54. In Cape Town, it can also be done on the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, if he actually deposits something in this, that will greatly benefit us. That's a great way to get the mercy. So, Brajapasi can surely give the transfer details if you're interested. He says absolutely, definitely, certainly. Yes, so in this way we can celebrate. So we see that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was, after all, a statesman. He was aware he had political sense. He understood the importance of pushing forward Srila Jagannath Das Babaji. And so he brought him to reconfirm and to, in this way, add authority to the whole thing. And the Babaji showed it in an extraordinary way. That not just, he said that, people could have argued, but Lord Chaitanya must have entered within his heart and make him jump out of the basket, because, otherwise people would not have believed it. Said, he's so old, can't even open his eyes, you know what I mean? It's like, maybe he sort of said something and they twisted it, and, it's not very strong evidence, but jumped out of the basket at 125 years old. It was extraordinary. Anyway, so this finding the birth site is a very big thing. And the interesting thing is then, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes this book, Navadvip Mahatmya. Now, in this Navadvip Mahatmya, he describes the entire Dham of Navadvip, the 9 islands. And interesting is that in this Navadvip Mahatmya, he is describing how Jiva Goswami is meeting up with Nityananda, and how Nityananda takes him on a parikram of the holy Dham, shows him the whole Dham. Now, the thing is this, that's very far out, and there's only one little question. We never heard of that before. Nobody ever described that before. I mean, that was like a few hundred years earlier, and we don't find anything in earlier books about it. It's just the first thing that this thing emerges, that somehow or other Jiva Goswami met Nityananda, and that he shows him the whole Dham. So, whatever may be, so this book of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is sort of like it's a little puzzling, Here he writes a whole Dham around with the birthplace, Mayapur in the center, and so on. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta takes that book and he starts to put it on the ground. And he starts his parikrama of the 9 islands. It wasn't just, hey devotees, we've worked hard the whole year, it's time for a vacation, let's go on parikrama, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, Guru Maharaj Ji. No. He was with every step establishing the Navadvip Mahatmya on the ground. And with that, the authority of the whole birth site and the whole theology, because the 9 islands are surrounding Antardvip, the internal island where the yoga pit is situated, and are each representing one of the 9 processes of devotional service. So here we see basically Lord Chaitanya surrounded by devotional service, and as a whole, the whole Vaishnava theology is there, and and Bhaktivinoda is residing in Godrum, the island of Kirtan. Yeah. So, a very popular island these days. Then you have Koda Drumadweep, is the island of Seva, the island of service. Momgachi is there, which is one of my favorite places, and there, in that Momgachi, there's really the mood of service. Everyone, whenever we would go there, they would just insist we take prasad. And there was Jagat Bandhu, very old Vaishnava, who would cook. Only in recent years he couldn't cook anymore because he was in his 90s and he left, but he would insist to cook, and we would help by bringing prasadam in as well, because it was getting too much for, a few hundred people for an old man. But he was going at it, and serving and sweeping, and this holy Dham of Mayapur. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur revealed the holy Dham to the world, and then we see that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta put it on the ground, and then Prabhupada starts giving it to the whole world by fulfilling the prophecy of Bhaktivinoda, who's speaking about the Adbhuta Mandir, the amazing temple that's being built, and then there we go. Prabhupada is insisting that this temple is being built, and his disciples are going like, ooh, and the whole Hare Krishna movement is going like, ooh, still more money. Yeah, we already gave. No, it's got to be everybody's temple. We got to do it somehow. So in this way, this temple is going to be catch the attention of the whole world and bring the attention of the world to Mayapur. What is this place? What are they having there? Such a big temple, that's the idea. Such a big temple will pull the attention of the whole world to Mayapur. So it said sometimes, Prabhupada said that there is the Janmastan, which is the yoga pit, right? Where Bhaktivinoda Thakur collected in Calcutta to construct a temple. So he constructed a temple in the yoga pit. But somehow or other, the yoga pit is not into ISKCON's hands, right? ISKCON's property is sort of little to the north of the yoga pit. And then Prabhupada commented. He said, yes, we don't have the Janmastan, we have the Karmastan. The Janmastan is the place where the Lord took birth, but in the Karmastan, the mission of the Lord will be fulfilled. So in this way, Prabhupada was seeing, and we will take up the mission. We will construct the temple here, and we will, in this way, do the work of bringing the holy Dham to the entire world. So this is our inherited mission, and we can see how the Acharyas have worked on this. And when Srila Prabhupada was asked when Srila Prabhupada himself asked what his mission was, then Giriraj Maharaj volunteered that it was book distribution and developing Sridham Mayapur. And Prabhupada said, you have understood. You have understood. These were the two main missions of Srila Prabhupada, to flood the world with books and to develop Sridham Mayapur. These two things are at the very core of our movement. And we see that begins with Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who presents the vision of that. And he's the visionary. Then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta clears the opposition. And then Prabhupada is basically establishing it for the world. Done. Opposition out of the way. Now we do it here and create the focus of the world on Srila Mayapur. I mean, that's the idea behind the whole big temple. So, therefore, it is appropriate on this day to, for a moment, look at the Adbhuta Mandir and this particular aspect of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mission. And by physically establishing the birth site of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are physically connecting with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're actually creating like a central focus on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and are in this way making Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, creating a facility where pilgrims from all over the world can come and take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's very interesting how Prabhupada's mission works, because in the beginning, Srila Prabhupada was more preaching about Krishna. Yes, he did give lectures in 1966 on the Chaitanya Charitamrita, already that early. And Umapati wrote down Sonoton. I guess the Bengali accent got him a bit. Sonoton. Sonoton is Sanatan. So, absolutely. But this is our mission, of course. We went to Bangladesh and on an extensive pilgrimage to many places. And the one thing that was so prominent there was that everywhere there were just devotees of Lord Chaitanya. They were all worshipping Lord Chaitanya. The whole thing, the one thing that stood out, they were Chaitanya conscious, Panchatattva conscious, completely, everywhere. They were just worshipping Lord Chaitanya. And so that is the Gaudiya movement we are from. We are from the Gaudiya Vaishnava movement, very Chaitanya centered. But when it came to the West, Krishna came more to the foreground and Lord Chaitanya in the back. But we should not forget that ultimately we have to spread the name, fame and glories of Lord Chaitanya, and that is why this temple in Mayapur is essential. And also in our preaching, we have to make Lord Chaitanya more known in the world, because we depend on Lord Chaitanya. And for ourselves, we should understand that without Lord Chaitanya, who are we? And even if you are born in a Brahmin family, are you born Brahmin family? Yes. Like Gautamiya Gautam. Yes, very good. That is very good. But unfortunately, it is mentioned that in Kali Yuga, all the asuras take their birth in Brahmin families. All right, we don't usually tell them that straight away. That may be a bit too much to swallow. But, no, we want to respect also Brahmanas, not all of them. But it is a fact that many who are proud, and proud Brahmanism is exactly reflecting that Asuric mentality. And the humility is lost, and we've been discussing Sringi and how Sringi lost his humility, and as a result was not able to go forward. Alright, so back to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I've expanded a little bit into Srila Prabhupada because we can see how Srila Prabhupada, how much he became an instrument in the vision of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And how Prabhupada had that mood of service. He's the servant of his spiritual master and the servant of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, very much so. So it's important to look at Bhaktivinoda Thakur like that, and to look at how Prabhupada is his servant, and that we are, when we're looking at Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that we're not just looking at, okay, here's a far out Acharya. Now, I know really, I mean, honestly speaking, I really like him, like among all our acharyas, I think he's really like far out, because he's so broad, and so like, wow, yeah, really like, it's my favorite, my favorite. I really like, yes, especially my favorite. No, it's not about who's your favorite. It is about trying to become his favorite. It is about trying to understand his mission. And as Prabhupada was the servant of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's mission and of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's mission, it is up to us to become the servant of the mission of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur as well. And on this day, we are reflecting. We are, now that for the second time, this morning I did a whole dramatic rendition of the Jaiva Dharma. And if you missed it, he might have it on video. There you go. It will be on Antardweep's, since we're talking Mayapur, Antardweep's YouTube channel, once he gets good internet. Which may not be here in Cape Town, but whatever. It will be, keep your eyes open. But because these are lectures which are more than just a little blurb about Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We're discussing making our connection with Bhaktivinoda Thakur, establishing that connection deeply, and as Srila Prabhupada did, become the instrument of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's vision. Appreciate that he's the visionary. He's the great visionary of this movement, of the modern Krishna conscious movement. He's the visionary. Bhaktisiddhanta is the one who just plowed the fields and plowed it and just got rid of all the rocks and all the thorn bushes and anything, any obstacle on the way. He just mowed it away because no one could stand up in front of him. So he just got everything out of the way and established here and there pillars and this and that. And Bhaktivinoda, he was like in the midst where Vaishnavism had become so confused, where all the deviant philosophy had mixed in with bona fide teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Bhaktivinoda started to sort of pull it out, right? With a deep intellectual open-mindedness and such a broad approach. Another book, for example, is the Tattva Viveka. Tattva Viveka is a whole book about philosophy, and he responds to Western philosophers. And I mean, he just points out, he knows them back to front. He knows them back to front and just points out why they were wrong, and then what was right. And it establishes Krishna. I'm talking about a dialogue with Western philosophers. Bhaktivinoda did it in Tattva Viveka. It's absolutely amazing. And being in dialogue with the British. Oh, there is Krishna Samhita. And Srila Bhaktivinoda was ready for the British. As yes, who had come to India and had established in the Maidan in Calcutta, which was the major port at the time, before the Suez Canal. The Calcutta was basically the seat. Excuse me, I have to. I know it's just for the dramatic effect. That's all. I'm nothing against the British. I hope. But anyway, it was the seat of the British Crown, Calcutta. You know, a city of great opulence. Oh yes. And there, you know, in this beautiful, beautiful place, in the middle of Calcutta, there is a large field where the British, first of all, established a large fort. And that fort was known as Fort Williams. And Fort Williams was not only a military settlement, no. Actually, you know, many scholars from Oxford, yes, Oxford, right, all right, from Oxford itself, came all the way to India, settled there in Fort Williams, and, you know, started to collect the manuscripts left and right. Now, for your information, I happen to have a disciple who is in Oxford. He is the head librarian for the Faculty of Hindu Studies. And what he told me, they have all these underground libraries in Oxford, you know, like bunkers deep underground filled with books and this and that and manuscripts. And he said they have rooms filled with manuscripts from India that were collected by Fort Williams. We would like to collect a few manuscripts, please. Sure, thank you. Please take all of them, yes. Thank you. They're going to England. Oh, yes, oh, definitely, yes. We think that's a very good place for them to be. And now, whatever and they're there, still there today. And they haven't even been catalogued, which is very interesting because we may find a lot of stuff about our Sampradaya, and especially about that recent history. We may find some unknown writing of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We may find all kinds of stuff in there. And we're just waiting for someone who finally gets an academic degree and painstakingly goes in there to catalogue what is there. Digitalize the whole thing. And then we wait for cracks of it, and then we'll download it and keep it in our library. There is more ecstasy to come. Yes. So, like this, you know, yes, there are so many things we can say. And then in Calcutta we had the Bhadralok. The Bhadralok means the auspicious people. And the Bhadralok, they were very sensitive to the British Western approach of academically studying texts. And they began to also study their own texts now in an academic way. And this Bhadralok, they were intellectuals, and many great writers from that time manifested, and one of them was Bhaktivinoda Thakur. If Bhaktivinoda Thakur would be famous just as a writer, I mean, with over 100 books, he definitely deserves that fame for his writing. We could say he was a writer. Right? If we want to glorify Bhaktivinoda Thakur for being a pioneer of the preaching movement, then we see how he pushed it forward with the vision and so on. If we want to glorify him as a magistrate who just managed the temple in Puri, who killed dacoits in Vrindavan or drove them out, locked them up, who got rid of even the deviants, that Bisikishain, that, you know, just few minutes over time because I can't stop what to do, and who's going to pull me off the seat? I challenge you. So, you know, did you ever hear of the Panchasakha? The Panchatattva, no, the Panchasakha. The 5 friends. Well, in Orissa, there is a group of Vaishnavas who are followers of the Panchasakha. The 5 friends of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is that? Yeah, they're not mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has not included them as a branch from Lord Chaitanya, but they themselves claim they are the Panchasakha. And mind you, in the historical literature of Orissa, there is over a century dedicated to the Panchasakha. It's known as the Panchasakha era. In terms of literature, lots of books and a whole big impact on Oriya history, and it's all Chaitanya philosophy. What's going on here? What is happening here? Abha Sampradaya? What is this? So, one of the Panchasakha, whose name was Jagannath Das, he wrote his own version of the Bhagavatam in Oriya, and he wrote a 13th canto. How many cantos in the Bhagavatam? Folks? Huh? How many? 12. 12. And in his Bhagavatam there is canto number 13. Now, historians tell us that because Orissa was quite a tribal state, at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 50% of Orissa was tribal. Up to these days, about 25%. So still a large number. But 50% was tribal at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so philosophy was a bit not so strong. And it said, therefore Buddhism just marched in with boots on and just, I like that, Buddhism with boots on, and marched in and just took over, conquered Veni Vidi Vici, oh no, that was from another era. And, they came, they saw, and there was victory. And at one point, in the Jagannath temple was even known as Buddha Jagannath. Can you imagine? So anyway, this Sunyavad philosophy, this voidism philosophy, mixed in quite a bit into Oriyan thinking, so it was not surprising that Jagannath Das's 13th canto, was describing exactly that the real purpose of Bhagavatam was voidism, Sunyavad. Then what happened? All right, interesting. One day, Jagannath Das comes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he says, I want to read to you my version of the Bhagavatam. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, oh, no, I cannot hear this, I cannot hear it. No, you must hear it. No. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, I cannot hear it because it is Ati Bari. It is too great. Ati Bari. And then, Jagannath Das, he thought, this is great. I'm not only great, I am too great. I am too great. So he took it, too much great. Too much great. He took it as a title. So he put this behind his name, Jagannath Das Ati Bari. Jagannath Das too much great. And like this, it became a whole thing. Now the story is longer and longer and longer. I don't want to stretch it and put in every detail, although they are juicy. And of course, if you really want, I'll tell you the juicy detail as well. Do you want?
Yes.
Oh. Well, then, Jagannath Das was not only known for his 13th canto. Oh no, he was also into Ras Leela. And he had a few pastimes with a few married ladies. So That wasn't so much appreciated by the community, and complaints were made to the king, who happened to be Maharaj Prataparuda. And Maharaj Prataparuda asked him what was going on. All right, pull it over, show me your license, what's going on? And okay, you were driving on the wrong side of the road. And basically, Jagannath replied and said, when I'm with the man, I'm one of the men. When I'm with the women, I'm one of them. So he was jailed for that. Transgender was not so, these gender issues were different in that time than they are now. What can be said, but he was jailed, And then, now, according to them, according to the Atibaris, Jagannath in jail became a woman. And then the king let him out, and Jagannath became the guru of the queen. So the Atibaris say, and they got a palace from the queen somehow, which they still have today. Anyway, at the time of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, there were 15,000 Atibaris, and they were both in Orissa and Bengal. And these 15,000 Atibaris, one of them was Bishikishe. That yogi with the long hair, the one that, was having his Ras Leelas, and we've seen many plays of Bishikishe, and so on. And ultimately, he had the power in his hair. He could kill. People were getting ill. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was getting greatly ill, but when they finally, Mr. Ravenshaw, a British officer, jumped on his back and had brought big scissors and just cut the hair of the yogi, and that was it. The yogi fell on the ground and was dragged off to jail, and Bhaktivinoda did his job as a magistrate. But even there, he was a devotee. Even there, as a magistrate, he was protecting Krishna consciousness. Therefore, in all spheres, wherever he worked, he was the head of the Jagannath temple, getting rid of dacoits in Vrindavan, getting rid of false incarnations of the Lord, and putting them in jail, establishing the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, writing so many books, giving the vision for the future mission. Where does the fame of Bhaktivinoda Thakur not take us? And then deep internal songs, deep meditations. And this morning I spoke about the poem about Haridas Thakur's Saragrahi Vaishnava. And now I spoke about his songs, Gitavali, which we should also read. So we got a lot of homework today, folks. When you come out of these lectures, I gotta stop now because I'm running 12 minutes late on the schedule. But whatever's going on, whatever else is going to happen, it's going to happen. But I tell you one thing, folks, that the more we absorb ourselves into the great wealth left by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we'll come out greatly enriched in our devotional service. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Avibhav Maha Mahotsava Ki Jai. Ananta